Hey everybody, we have Rock D joining us all the way from Hong Kong. Rock D, say hi.
Hey guys. Yeah.
What's up? All right,
Yeah,
so
really
most
for
of you
inviting
guys,
me.
most of you guys probably don't know Rock D actually has a real name. It's Lipan Liu, and he's a really incredible artist. He's worked on some seriously amazing projects. His work stood out to me over the years, actually, as I was producing stuff in house. I would always just like reference your work and look at it and be like, look at these amazing shapes, look at these amazing colors. So, Lipan, would you do us a favor and tell us a little bit about your art journey? Where did you get started in all of this?
Actually, I was kind of self-taught. I mean, even though I went to some university for studying art, but
Hmm.
actually, the situation, the condition in China is kind of okay. We have so many universities that have some major like teach you how to do art, how to do kind of design things. But actually, we don't have many really talented teacher here. So most of the artists there, they have to be self-taught themselves. That's
That's
kind of, yeah. So I am obviously I'm one of them. But the reason why I want to be an artist is because from my childhood, I was a big fan of games and movies and any kind of interesting things that can I think can inspire me a lot. So I was thinking, hey, if one day I could be some get professional role to do the thing in those kinds of industries, that would be so awesome to me. Yeah. So and yeah, that's I just I went to the university and have willing to be a really awesome artist.
hmm.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I often ask people who are self-taught, is that something that you would recommend for others in, these times now, or do you think that maybe learning through an institution is still relevant?
Personally, I think that depends. I think that depends on whether there are many really awesome universities or like schools there. Our schools there can teach you really well by some really talented teacher. But
Hmm.
in China, we can previously we don't have anything like that. So that's the only thing I can do if I want to be, especially for the concept artist, because you know what, back then there in China there was not many professional fields that can have some role as concept artists. So I think 90 or 95% of the concept artists they just self-taught themselves. So my recommendation is if you have really good art schools or universities in your countries, please just try your best to attend to make success to join the universities or schools
Hmm.
because those teachers can really teach you how to improve your skills very fast
Mm-mm-mm.
instead of you just keep teaching yourself for the whole time. Yeah.
Mm-mm-mm. So, I mean, looking at your history in the industry, I was kind of getting a little glimpse of your story, and I was kind of trying to piece together this idea of like, how did you become this consummate professional? And what I noticed is that, and it's not entirely uncommon, is that you started from a place of like indie development. You started working your way up the ladder. Did it take you many years to get to your current level of skill? And if it did, how did you train that? Did you do it on your own, like in like concentration, or did you learn from others and use the industry as experience?
Actually, my first work is was to working at outsourcing studio,
Hmm.
and I I didn't join any kind of individual studios. But the first time that I joined the first studio that I have been working with, I think I was happy, but that's not fit my real goal because my real goal is to make a really awesome games with some really talented people.
Hmm.
But for outsourcing studio, you are always like a role to just produce all the things that the clients asked you to do, right? So it's
Yeah.
kind of you are lack of freedom, you are lack of creativity to do the thing because you just do in the thing that people told you to do, right?
Yes.
So yeah, so after 2 years, I really want to be making some changes. Not only with my career, but also with my my life or something like that. So I took like 3 hour or three months with no salary, with bread no salary, and
Mhm.
I just
Mhm.
I made a lot of practices during that time because
Mhm.
I was a big fan of Western games,
Mm.
some kind of mechanical things, science fiction things.
Yeah.
But my first two working experience, I I didn't have much time to do such things. I was responsible for the most of the time. I was responsible for any kind of the Eastern kind of fancy few characters, which I really
Mm.
don't like it.
Mhm.
So yeah, I just took three months with no salary to practice myself, to practice my skills, to figure out okay, so if I want to join one um, Western company, what kind of things I should do. So
Right.
I just played a lot of games and saw a lot of artworks from the talented people, and I tried to learn their skills. I just those are still kind of self-taught things. I didn't
Mhm.
ask for anyone's help. I just want to figure out the things myself because
Mhm.
that to me I think that's the most challenged way. But if I can figure out it, I can I can really do it in the future when I have any kind of problems. I can find a solution. So yeah, that's what I expect. What I usually do when I was expecting to change my career as the real concept artist though that I really want to be. And
Mm.
after that, I went to some. After that, yeah, I mean, luckily, I joined one Western company called Per Digital Entertainment.
Mhm.
Yeah, and was doing really some kind of a really good a shooter game, FPS shooter game called Final Combat, which really has a very similar style of Overwatch. So you know
Okay.
what? The first time I saw Overwatch, I said, "Whoa, that's so similar to the projects that I have been working on.
Yeah.
So awesome because you know because yeah the Overwatch came from Blizzard. Blizzard
Mhm.
has really talented people there, has really good engine, has really good technical artists, so they can really make the games really awesome, both not only on gameplay but also on graphic qualities.
Yeah.
But back then, the game I was working on called Final Combat, I mean, even though they have the similar art style, but hey man, the graphic is really goddamn sucks. So yeah, I mean, the first time I saw Overwatch, it just reminds me of that. Oh, if we have really talented technical artists, we can really make our game something like that, like
Yeah.
Overwatch.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so that's why a funny thing is the first time that the Overwatch announced in BlizzCon, and so many of my friends just came to me to ask, hey, were you working on that project?
Yeah.
Just look like the style, man. And I was, and because that's very late in a day, like 2 a.m. in a day, so it's
Mhm.
very late. So I was still, sleeping there. So when I saw the messages, it was the next day's morning already. So what is Overwatch? What is Overwatch? So I just checked the Overwatch. Oh, damn, that's really
Fresh.
awesome. I really like the game, man.
Awesome.
So I just told my friends, hey, seriously, if I if I was being involved in this project, I will let every single one of you know this thing.
Yeah.
But I don't. But I don't, Sally. But yeah, from that time on, I really have a dream. There is one day I could be working on Overwatch as
Mhm.
the concept artist, even though just making some concept art for them, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Uh, so yeah, it's back to the my career, my working experience. So after the Fellow Combat, I mean the Western company, I went to the one of the biggest company in China called NetEase. I'm not sure whether you know NetEase.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's a very big company in China. I mean the game company.
Yeah.
So China has two. biggest companies. One is Tencent.
Yeah.
I beg you, you know. So
Yeah.
another one, the Signal one is NetEase. Yeah. So I had some willing to be there for making some really awesome project
Mm-hmm.
because they told me, hey guys, right now we don't want to give you any pressure. We just want you guys to to be creative, to produce really awesome art and awesome gameplay things for game. And we are, you know, honestly, I was kind of excited. But after I joined in this, I found so many kind of office, office things, and I think, okay, actually, we cannot do the good games because you have blah 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 kind of rules. So, and I'm not sure whether you know the situation, especially for the gaming industry situation in China right now. Most of the companies they just copy others' ideas into their
Mm.
games because they
Mm.
want to earn money really quickly. I'm not sure whether we can talk about this, but that's
Yeah,
the
I feel
truth,
you.
man.
I feel you. I feel you.
Yeah, yeah. So after 2 years, after 2.5 years in NetEase, I chose to just leave NetEase because I still have my dream. I still want to be, making my dream come true.
Yeah.
So I went to a virtual reality studio
Yeah.
because I want to learn something
Mm-hmm.
from how to make the virtual reality games.
Yeah.
I was so interested in it,
Mm.
and yeah, when I was working in that studio, I met so many talented people, some really awesome artists across multiple uh, disciplines, like some really 3D, really talented 3D artists, some VFX artists, some technical artists, and we are still like very good friends right now. But yeah, so after that, I just I went back to my hometown, which is Chengdu.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure whether you know Chengdu, but
A
if
little
you
bit.
know
Yeah.
Chinese food, you should know Chengdu. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, because during that time, my daughter was born,
Mm-hmm.
so I was thinking, okay,
And
because
there's a lot of studios in Chengdu, right?
yeah, but most of them are still, like the big companies do in
Mm.
gaming industry.
Mm.
So I chose to be a freelancer at home because because after several years working experience on concept art, I can get some freelance work with some really awesome Western studio out there.
Right.
For example, the original games who made the Bioshock series.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was really awesome experience when working with them.
Yeah.
So yeah, during that time, I also get a freelance job from Blizzard on Overwatch. So
Well,
yeah,
there you
that's
go.
that's
So, okay,
there,
wait. Tell me about the day that happened. Was that a bit of a mind blowing moment for you? Like, how did you hear about that?
because actually initially I just saw they were hiring a concept artist for
Mm.
their team. So I was thinking, maybe I can have a try. Maybe I can have a try. So I sent them an email to tell them, hey guys, I think I got a really perfect match on your projects.
Yeah.
I'm not sure whether I can get this opportunity to communicate with you guys, but I'm a big fan of the games, and I think my art style is really hit your bar for your project.
Yeah.
I was not expecting that they would reply me because hey, come on, that's Blizzard, and I'm a guy from China. We have some kind of weird uh, relationship between U.S. and China, I think,
Mm.
especially in gaming industry, because
Mm.
what our big companies did, in the past, maybe something that have some bad impact to the studios out there. But hey, just after weekend, and the talent just came to me and just reached out to me to say, hey, we love your work, so maybe we really would like to have a talk with you. So
That's
I was,
amazing.
whoa, man, dream comes true. Yeah,
That's amazing. So
yeah.
that's
Actually,
that's many years later, right? That's like about 4 years later from when you first started,
um,
4 or 5 or what?
4 years. Yeah,
Yeah.
4 years. Yeah. 4 years before. Yeah.
Mm.
So actually, and initially they really want to hire me there, but due to some visa issues,
Hmm.
kind of visa
To
issues,
bring, yeah,
and
to bring
some
you in house.
yeah,
Yeah.
and some potential concerns about my English things
Mm.
because back then my English is still very it's not bad, but it's still hard for me to be familiar with, especially for some professional words.
Mm.
So hey, so they just but we really love your work and we really want to work with you. So
Right.
uh, so how about considering be a freelancer for Overwatch? And I said, hey, sure, man.
Yeah.
Sure, man. That's no doubt. I just want to do that. So yeah, just from then I became a freelancer for making concept art for Overwatch. That's really awesome for me. Yeah, that's
That's
that's the thing. Yeah.
that's amazing, man. So that wasn't necessarily the place you stopped either. I mean, I look at your profile and I see stuff all over the place. You got League of Legends, you got Borderlands 3. Like, where did those projects come in?
So the League of Legends, I was beginning to do the League of Legends when after I joined Riot,
Mm.
because right now I'm working at Riot Games, Hong
Yeah.
Kong and Singapore studio,
Hmm.
as the lead concept artist on League of Legends.
Yeah.
So that's the thing what I have been doing for the past 2 years. And the Borderlands, it's just after the time that I finished the Overwatch freelance job. Yeah, and I still have some freelance experience for previous works, but right now they are still not announced, so I cannot talk um, much details about it. I'm
Of
so
course.
sorry about it.
Of course.
Yeah, but yeah.
But it's fair to say that it makes sense to me because looking at your art, you do have that stylized look to your work that would definitely lean either towards something like Overwatch or Borderlands. Like you could almost interchange the style because it's so line driven.
Yeah, I really love. I think I think concept art, especially for concept art, style is not really a big problem. I think the big problem is the way you think. I
Mm,
think that's the most important thing for
mm,
anyone wants to be a concept artist. Because I think there are so many people are caring too much about, oh, I don't have the same style as the project that I really want to do.
yes,
So they just feel so frustrated.
yes.
But I always told them, hey, to be confident and to be thinking different, because the most important thing is how you think, is not how you draw, is not how you do some particular things. If you can change the way you think, uh, you know, uh, every time when you make some kind of different style, you can do everything if you want.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
mean,
So
it it sounds so funny to me because like I look at your portfolio and I'm like, wow, like Rukti, your work is so good, man. Most people look up to you and they think like, how the hell am I gonna get as good as him? Like, I think like in retrospect, you look back at your work and you don't really see the mileage, but there's been a ton for you. And I think there's a certain confidence that you have with drawing and painting that you're able to be observant of style in a way. Like when you enter a new project, you're thinking, like you said, about what is this project, what do they want, and then the rest is like, is your skill capable of getting you there, right? Wouldn't you say that's fair?
yeah, yeah, I think that's totally what I think. But to be honest, I don't really like drawing very much. I just want to, uh, showing my ideas, showing my
Yeah.
thoughts to the
Yeah.
people. I want to be sharing all this kind of stuff with
Yeah.
others because that's the thing I really want. I will be really proud for. I really be happy for.
That's amazing, man.
So yeah, so people always say, "Hey, Rocky, I really want to know the tips that you draw
Mm,
characters."
mm,
And I say, "Hey, man, I don't know how to help your draw characters well, but I can only help you to think different on
mm,
concepting your characters because
mm.
I'm not a real expert on drawing. I'm not even expert on designing. I'm just still like a free student in gaming in concept industry because there are so many talented people out there over the world. And but I think just like what I said before, thinking is always the most important thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So one thing that stands out, I think, looking at your portfolio, especially when someone first arrives there and looks through it, is like, okay, the first impression is this is a character artist, and then you go down and you start to see all these weapons, you see a few landscapes, and you think to yourself, okay, this is someone who's multi-dimensional. They can potentially take on a lot of projects. And from what you've been telling me, I think a lot of that has to do with your early experience working for an outsourcing studio and building up the confidence to work in different areas. But for people who are kind of young and they want to, they have these dreams of like, I want to be a concept artist for Blizzard or for Riot Games or whatever it might be, they're thinking to themselves like, I need to like get really good at one thing. Is that something you thought about? Like, I have to be really good at characters, or was characters sort of like the thing you just felt drawn to over time?
I think that depends on the different period when you located, right?
Hmm.
So because I think for the first several years, if one people really will have some goal to be involved in one particular studio or company or project, you need to be really focused on the art styles that they have been producing for their projects, and just focus on one thing because you can do. I mean, potentially you can really handle both the characters and the environment at the same time, right? But that will really attract attention to be focusing on one thing
Hmm.
because for me, the reason why I still have some time or I have that interest to do the environment or weapons, it's because I am a big fan of games. I am not a big fan of drawing. So,
Yeah,
I
that's
just want
amazing.
to,
That's amazing.
yeah, so I really want to be the developer in gaming
Right.
industry. I want
Yeah.
to think like a real developer, not only just like an artist.
Yeah.
I want to know how, hey, so what kind of things that you guys thinking about when you are designing an environment, designing an entire terrain, and how you level designer guys do the thing in the game. It is amazing because you just guide our experience when we are playing your games, right?
Right.
That's really awesome for me. And for the weapon designs, because I have that experience working on some first person shooter games, if you just draw the concept in the profile perspective,
Mm-hmm.
it's not enough
Yeah.
because actually in first shooter you can only see some limited angle of the
Yeah.
weapon. So I
Yeah.
really want to be expert on that. So I started to learn how to use Maya, how to use ZBrush to model the very simple polygons, but that can already help me to be more understanding. Okay, so how the weapons will be looking in some particular angle in the game.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, I really care about whether my designs can be seen in the game. I'm not just care about, okay, whether the entire character or the entire weapon looks great, because that's nothing to a developer.
Yeah.
Because players can only see the things in the particular angle for
Yeah.
particular projects, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my experience. I want to be the developer, not only the artist.
That's amazing, man. Because being the developer is one thing, in a technical sense, but I think that you're also thinking of it in terms of being a fan, being the audience, and that's something really. I don't chat to a lot of artists who are so passionate like you are, because you have this long history of playing different games and being inspired from a young age to get into this industry. And what I notice is that you may not consider yourself the greatest designer or artist, or those aren't the things you're interested in. You're interested in the big picture design stuff, and that's super cool. That's, to me, that says concept artist like day one. It doesn't say illustrator. It says like, here's a person who wants to make something that is functional for a project.
Yeah, that's really cool, and and to me, I think that's the only way to stay with passion for the whole time. because I think for many of the artists in this field, after like 10 or 11 years, it will be get bored about what they have been doing for such many years.
Mm.
So you have to be like out of your safe zone. You know, just like a god to like a top down view to your work, to your experience, and hey, oh, you are already make these things for several years. So what should you do for the next like 10 years or next 11 years or whatever? So you need to think about it. Even for
Absolutely.
me,
Yeah.
even for me right now, I have some. I really have some concern about. Okay, so everybody knows that I'm some kind of good at designing mechanical or science fiction things,
Hmm.
and I would love to do it, but that's always my safe zone. You know what? So yeah, if there is any task that need me to be making concept art for the particular titles, science fiction titles, I think I could be really good. But that's kind of boring, So that's why I want to do some really different styles. So if you saw my portfolio art station, you can
Hmm.
see a lot of ancient Chinese style there.
Yeah. A series
Yeah,
of different characters, a series of, yeah, just different stuff every time.
yeah. So those kind of stuffs are all the things that I really want to grab me out of my safe zone and to try some really different, to try some really unique from what I did in the past few years.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have a question about the process itself. I wanted to know from your perspective, what are some of the things that you've learned from being a freelancer versus someone who works inside a studio?
I think for a freelancer, the most important thing is to be quick and good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's always the good the important thing.
Yeah.
And actually, for my experience, I will like make 4 or 5 or 6 different sketches every day. So
Mm-hmm.
sometimes the clients just said to me, "Hey, I think you are too quick. Maybe we can just slow it down a little bit." But because I take every piece of the freelance works opportunity really seriously because I
Amazing.
want to be improving myself as quick as possible.
Mm.
So I really want to observe all the feedbacks and all the really talented suggestions, creative suggestions from these creative studios because they are so good in terms of what they did for the previous titles.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so I think yeah, just like I said, one, if you want to be for a freelancer, one, you need to be quick and good. Two, you need to be really creativity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think
Create
that's
designs.
that's oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean that's the only reason why the studio want to hire you because
Yes.
they want your ideas, they want your thoughts, and your work is kind of sell your ideas. It's not just sell your art skills or something. Art skills is some kind of a thing that upon of the creativities.
Yes.
So the priority should always be the creativity of your things. So that's
100%.
why they really want to work with you guys because they already has so many talented people in house. So why should they still hire you to do the thing? That doesn't make any sense, right? So that's
100%.
just they want to store your thoughts. They want to see your creativities. That's
Exactly.
a
I've
yeah,
actually seen and heard and been a part of the hiring process where we will bring in an artist just because they're adding something fresh to the IP. Like when we can't get in house
yeah,
because we're all seeing the same thing, we're all thinking the same. We need someone outside to do something crazy so that we can be re-inspired inside the studio.
yeah, exactly. I think that's the most important reason that why they hire some freelancers over the world. Yeah, especially for Asian people, this because Western people sometimes they really want to do something that the Asian people are always expected, but because of the culture difference, they are not sure about the things.
Mm,
So they are likely to hire some Asian freelancers to inspire them as they work, which I think
absolutely.
is really cool because so that's why we can see a lot of the combination between the Western and Eastern culture
Yeah.
things, especially in virtual.
Yeah.
That's really cool. That's really
Absolutely.
cool.
From
Yeah.
the outside, I don't know if you've ever had this impression being where you are, but at least here, whenever we look at Asian artists, particularly Chinese artists, when we look at their work, sometimes it's unclear how they're getting their skills. And you just told me something that I never knew, which is that most Chinese artists are self-taught. That's crazy to me because we all have this belief that you guys are going to these incredible schools. Because like we look at your work and we think like, where did they learn this color theory? The color is so good. Like we see these amazing paintings with just like the perfect color choice. Like, this is incredible. Like where does this come from?
I think the reason that why you think especially for the Chinese artists are so good at drawing or some kind of things is that we Chinese people really working hard the whole time. Because I think it's particular related to the history issues. So Chinese people are always want to be uh, making their lives really awesome. Especially uh, for the people like my parents.
Mm,
So yeah, I mean that's kind of I think that's kind of the history thing. So Chinese people really don't want to be that making people look down on them.
mm,
So we really working hard for the whole time. So maybe uh, because I have been involved in both Chinese companies and Western big companies studios, so I can see the difference.
mm-hmm.
Most of the Chinese artists can do the thing, I mean the drawing or concept thing or practices for like 12 or 15 hours per day,
Yes.
which I think you guys cannot imagine, right?
Yeah, of course.
So I think that's why we take much more time. So even though we most of us are self-taught, but as we still can be really expert on particular fields.
Absolutely. And it to me, it's there's this phenomenon called deliberate practice. It's like what a tennis player does to get really, really good. And sometimes art can be seen as a trade skill where you are essentially like a high class athlete. The more you work at it, the more exposure you have to it, the more you think of designs, the more time that you spend, the better you get. So I 100% agree. That is probably the number one reason why there's so many amazing artists coming out of your country. I mean, it's really, really impressive. So I wanted to jump in and ask you, what does a typical work week look like for you? Do you get like a brief maybe on the weekend, or do you get a brief on Monday and then you kind of break it down into thumbnails and you send those out and then you start to work on some refinements? What does your process as a freelancer look like?
So because I have almost 2 years full time freelancer experiences. So for those periods, I just do the job every day. But I never make any concept during weekends because I want to take more time with my family,
Of course,
especially
of course. Yeah,
yeah, especially after my daughter was born. So I really want to. Even now, I during weekend. Oh shit! Oh, come on, job? No, no, no work for me.
yeah,
Not really. So
yeah.
yeah, but for now, sometimes not for now because for now I don't have any freelance jobs because I really don't have much time on that because League of Legends are so many things to do and
Yeah,
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 kind of things.
absolutely. And are
Yeah.
you?
So
Sorry, I was
sorry,
gonna
but
carry on, carry on.
sorry. But previously, I do have some experience. Uh, I still have the full time job in house.
Hmm.
At the same time, I still have I also have the full time job, and I always take my light, just my times online to figure out the freelance jobs, freelance works, not on weekend.
Yeah,
I think there is one important reason because I can usually I can really make my concept really quick, so I can save more time to do the freelance jobs, even though I have a full time job in
yeah,
a day.
yeah. And that's just experience that allows you to work so quickly. That's really, really beneficial. So like I'm quite interested in the the process of the design that you like. Say for instance, you arrive on Monday morning at Riot, and they say, "Hey, Rock D, like Lipan, we got this new brief for you. We need a new character. He's gonna look like this." What's the first thing you do? Do you bash out a bunch of thumbnails, or do you just start like producing high quality sketches? Like, what's the deal?
Honestly, right now when working at Route, I don't have many opportunities to produce the concept by myself
Hmm.
because we have some in-source studio in China, in Shanghai.
Hmm.
So the most of the time, I just, lead and mentor them to do the thing.
Yes.
So I'm just because right now I'm the lead, right? So
Hmm.
I need to take more responsibility on managing the people,
Yeah.
on mentoring them. So yeah, I mean, but I can also answer the question with my previous experiences.
Hmm.
So yeah, just like the first day, when I was the first time get the new task for me, I will always took like 2 or 3 hours to make a mood board for the
Hmm.
character,
Hmm.
and that mood board can really help you to clear understand what the designers want, what the characters should be looking.
Yeah.
And then I take like half a day to make 5 or 6 thumbnails. That's the first day of the
Hmm.
work.
Hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the first process when I was making a character concept art, and then
Mm.
we just have some team discussing, team review, to define more about the character itself and to find a clear direction to be, going into the next round.
Okay.
I mean, the next task. So yeah, just like so always like 3 passes for one character designing. So the first one is thumbnails for a very loose, the sketches for okay, so what kind of the character should look. And the first pass or the second pass should be make some refinement of the explorations,
Hmm.
and then we choose the really direction that we really want, and
Yeah.
I just make the iteration for the refinement, and
Yeah.
then I just make the concept of the final
Yeah.
project.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And when you finish a character, it's quite normal for you to still iterate on that character because maybe the director wants a few changes, and so you're spending a
yeah,
day or two refining that character.
yeah. Sometimes things always happen during the processes. Yeah, especially for the producer or art director.
Hmm.
Sometimes, even though the stage is already like going into the final stage, and then the art director just came to me, "Hey, Rock, I have another really awesome idea. Could you help me try it again?"
Yeah.
Things always happen like that. But
Well,
uh,
is there budget?
but actually, I was always, I mean, for the in-house job, because that's my job. So I was always open for, those kind of requests. But it depends because sometimes if, they really want me to do some iteration, but in a bad way, I
Mm.
will be refusing,
Yeah.
and I will be like having some argument with them. Hey, I don't think that would be a
Good.
way, man. I
Yeah.
really like the way what I'm doing right now. So I just want to push the way to the final deliver, and you just shut up, okay?
Absolutely, man. It's like I feel like there is a time for artists to speak up in a professional sense and say like, I think this is actually the right direction.
Yeah, yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
and it's like when you present like 5 thumbnails or 5 sketches to an art director, they're gonna pick the worst one.
So I mean, it depends really. Yeah, if you meet some really talented art director, they will
Mm.
always pick the one that
Yeah.
you like, or
Oh
the
yeah.
pick 2 or 3 that you really like. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, life is kind of tough. So you have no idea what kind of art director you will meet in the future.
That's true. That's true. So
Yeah,
let's step away a little bit from the whole art world here because I read some stuff in your profile that is super interesting. You like to practice kung fu, at least before the lockdown, and you like to sing. How do those two things marry up with your world? Like, it's so strange to even like imagine like, wow, like kung fu and singing. Those are two very different things.
yeah. I mean, because I was kind of like a curious baby when I was very, very young. And I think the most of reason that I really I wanted to learn kung fu
Mm.
when I was young because I was a really big fan of Bruce Lee.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so every kind of the young people in China during that period really want to be Bruce Lee, and even at especially after the movie called Shaolin Temple along.
Yeah, I
You know,
love that
you know
movie.
that, right?
I love
So
that movie
yeah, you know that, right? So
with
after
Jet Li.
that, all the people, all the kids want to be learning kung fu in Shaolin.
Yeah.
But Shaolin Temple is so far away from my hometown, so I can only learn kung fu from my grandpa and
Yeah.
my father because they are really good at kung fu. Um, so yeah, I was just kind of getting interested on the thing when I was very young. From movies, from my grandpa, from my daddy,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and since I was 9, I started kung fu. I started kung fu for entirely 9 years until 19 years old
Amazing.
before
Yeah.
I joined university. Yeah.
Yeah.
So for another thing, the interest on singing is there was one day one of my friends came to me to say, hey, I think your voice is really beautiful. I think you should learn how to sing. And I say, what? But before that, I don't know how to sing exactly. And I just I just went back home and have a talk with my mom and my daddy. Hey, my friend said I can sing. What do you think? And my my dad, my parents just told me, no, I don't think you can make it.
Be cruel to be kind.
Yeah, that's the traditional parents in China. They just want us to be really good at studies.
Yeah.
They really want to be. The only thing that they care about is, hey, you should go into a really good university so
Mm-hmm.
that you can feed yourself really well.
Mm-hmm.
That's the reality.
Yeah.
But I was a very how to say, it's a
Mm-hmm.
extroverted guy.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that time I was already 16 years old. That's a kind of time that
Yeah.
you are getting a
Rebellious.
little rebellion.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah. So I started, like meeting some friends in any kind of pubs, karaoke. So I started to learn how to sing, and luckily I know some friends really sing really well. So they taught me how to sing well, and they taught me how to use my voice, how to relax my voice, and to make beautiful voices. And yeah, that's really very lucky for me. And after that, I had some experiences as the singer in the kind of multiple pubs in my hometown. So that's
Mm-hmm.
kind of the first time that I use my voice to earn money, I feel so excited. Hey, oh shit, oh I can
Yeah.
do this.
Yeah. That's so cool. Who needs art?
Yeah. So you know what? Actually, I was not really familiar with drawings or art. Maybe I
Mm.
have some potential talent, but I didn't do anything exactly for specifically learning the art before university. But you know what?
Wow.
I think, I, but I think to learn kung fu or to be expert on sing or any other kind of breaking dance, I was a big boy, man. I was a breaking dance boy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So because I knew kung fu, so it's easy for me to
Yeah.
be expert on breaking
Yeah.
dance.
And you're already strong from all the workouts, so it's like it's so much easier.
Yeah, so much easier. So yeah, but I was really, I think I was really lucky to be having some experience on those, those very different fields. I
Mm-hmm.
think all those different fields can help me to make me always inspired by any field when I was designing any kind of concept art, because many artists they always care about, hey, doing the job really well. And other things I don't care. I just care about drawing. I just care about
Yeah. Art is my
the
world.
yeah. So I always told my friends or the guys who really want to be creative in this industry is that you need to have so many different hobbies, very different from the art. So that will really, make you inspired from so many fields that you never expected.
Yeah,
That's really good.
absolutely. And if anything, at the end of the day, when you work on art all day and you go home, you don't want to be thinking about art. You want to be like
Yeah,
relaxing and like, getting into a better frame of mind so that you're healthier. You can go back to work and do a great job. So,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, I wanted to ask you, like, speaking of which, like, speaking of the whole art side of things, let's go back to thinking about this a little bit more analytically. Because what I like to do is really just help people out there who might be watching this for the first time, and I'm no doubt a fan of your work, and hoping that you can shed a little bit of wisdom with them. So the first thing I want to ask is, what do you think makes a good portfolio for an artist?
I think you mean particular concept art?
Yeah, like a successful like portfolio that would get you hired in like maybe a big studio.
Okay, let's. I think first let's talk about for some particular studio. If let's talk about God of War,
Mm,
because yeah, I think we are both fans of God of War. So let's say uh, if you want to be making your portfolio really attractive by the guys from God of War Studio,
hmm
you need to make your stuff really hit the bar of the God of War. You are not going to make so many different things in your portfolio because that will make others think, oh, maybe he just have this kind of interesting, but he's not very good at designing or making stuff for this kind of particular style, right?
mm,
So, and I think another thing is that you need to always thinking about how to make your concept artist really out of others works, because right now we have so many similar style or similar things like on concept art, because if you every time you open the page of the art station, you can see so many similar things
yeah.
even though when you are searching the sci-fi or something, and
hmm
you say, hey, they just look the same, especially for the makers,
hmm
or weapons or
yeah,
some kind of soldiers, sci-fi soldiers, mechanical soldiers. They just look
exactly,
the same.
exactly.
So you think, yeah, I think so. For me, I think back then I was thinking, so I really want to making some people out there know my works, and I was thinking, because I'm Asian, I'm Chinese, right? I'm from the China mainland. Even though I'm living in Hong Kong right now, but I'm totally from China mainland. So we have our own culture. So that's something in your blood. That's something in your generation. So even though I really like science fiction things, which is more related to the Western style or something, but
hmm
I can do something to make the combination of my culture to the Western, even though for the mechanical things, for the robots, for the drones, you can always do the thing. So that's why I think you can source something there in my art station portfolio. I really want
mm,
to make the combination of this kind of different things
yeah,
because I want
combining two
to,
worlds. Mm,
yeah, I want to see. I want to see. So, what the things will be looking like if I combined the things together. And
yeah,
sometimes, they really looks pretty cool. But sometimes I think they are not that cool enough. But still a challenge for me, and
yeah,
still forced me to always think how to make them, different from others.
yeah,
So I think that's the very important thing. Even though you are doing the same field, let's say, just like I said, even though I'm still doing the sci-fi things, I was always thinking how to make my sci-fi things different from others. And especially, I think I want to take another example, like if let's say for weapons,
hmm
because for Call of Duty weapons, no matter which series they are, they just look the same to me.
yeah, they're real.
Yeah, I mean, they're pretty cool. I mean, they are, even though they are still pretty cool, but kind of generic to me.
Yeah,
That's a cool generic. That's not a bad generic.
yeah,
But yeah, so even though for the weapon designs, I'm always looking into the daily things, the life daily things like some my computers, my showers, my kind of things that didn't relate to the
yeah,
science fiction things. Even
yeah,
even though for my my mouse,
yeah. Well, it's pretty sci-fi.
yeah, yeah, this one is pretty sci-fi.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I always like to look into these things that the people are not think they are related to the particular things. Let's say science fictions, because that always can inspire me a lot.
Yeah.
That's
I mean,
yeah. Even though
that's the origin of like the Star Wars designs. You know, they looked at everyday lamps in the streets and mailboxes, and they just turned them into spaceships. You know, pretty cool.
yeah, today I'm thinking I could designing a really science fiction buildings inspired from an umbrella. That's really cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Umbrella. Yeah, I saw some very weird umbrella things out there in the street, and I think, oh, that's really cool. So yeah, I have another. Right now, I have another interest for a couple of years. I really want to take pictures of random things when you are working on the street, because there are so many things that can inspire you, not only on shapes but also on colors and the materials. Yeah,
100%.
so I think that's a very necessary thing for anyone who wants to be a concept artist.
Yeah, exactly. Look at the real world. There's so much inspiration around you that it's like cheating almost. It's like, let me just take that idea over there and put it into a design.
Yeah, so yeah, I mean, yeah, for my another recommendation is, if you want to design a weapon, do not only search for the weapon references.
Mm,
Just open your mind to think about anything that have a shape or have a form like a barrel, but can still still pull out something there. And yeah, that should be pretty cool.
awesome, awesome. So that I think there was a lot there to unpack for students that I think will, if they're interested, listen to this and figure it out for themselves because there's some really good stuff there. In general, you know, do you think that a student should approach a specific studio and start to craft their portfolio around working for that one studio, or do you think they should have a broad approach?
um I think it. I think it really still depends on different studios, because some studios really want the artists to be really generous. Let's, for example, Supercell. For as far as I know, Supercell really like the candidates who can be really generous, not only
Yes.
on concept art but also on do some 3D sculptures, and maybe know some knowledge for the technical things.
Yeah.
So yeah, but for some studios, like for what I know, Lordy Dog,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So for Lordy Dog, I think you should be more focusing on one particular thing, instead of, oh, you know so many things but you are not even an expert on each one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, with
But
Naughty Dog, is you could even go deeper and say, if you're an environment artist, you need to research what these companies do, because Naughty Dog doesn't work the same way as Blizzard. You know, their environment style, their environment, everything is different. Like you have to do the work before you even apply and before you're even keen on working for a particular company. I think that groundwork where you go like, what do I need to produce in the first place to get their attention? Do you think that's fair?
yeah, sure, yeah,
Absolutely.
totally.
Awesome. Cool. So I think we have covered quite a lot here today, and I just want to say thank you so much for joining us, Rukdi. I'm sure everybody who's going to be watching this is going to get a lot of value out of it. And I don't know, have you ever done one of these interviews before? I have not seen one of you online.
Not really, because I was not confident about my English.
Yeah.
Even
All right.
today, even I
So
feel so nervous.
yeah, man, I feel nervous too. Your work's too so good. I'm like, what the hell, man? Like, all these amazing
Oh,
accolades.
yeah, thank you so much for your
Yeah.
kind words.
Oh man, it's
Appreciate.
great. It's great to meet like a really down to earth, humble artist who's really, really excited about design, excited about the concept art process. And if anything, I hope anyone who wants to break into this industry watching this takes a leaf out of your book, because yeah, man, that is what I think this industry needs more of. It's just passion and love for what you do, because I
Yeah,
can see it
passion
in
and
your work.
love. That yeah, passion and love. Kind of things are always the things that can drive your can work as many years as you can.
Yeah, exactly. Stay young.
Yeah, but you know what? Yeah, but we always have some oh bad feelings to our neck and our because our work conditions.
Exactly. So you have to take care of yourself, you know.
Yeah, everyone
Yeah.
should be taking self.
Yeah. All right. So thank you so much, Rocky. I'm gonna say goodbye, and for everyone who gets to watch this, again, thank you so much, and I'll chat to you soon.
Thank you as well, man.
All right. See you
So
later.
thank
Bye.
you. See you. Bye.